Hello and welcome back to Speed Demon Painting. Today we are taking a look at the Independence Battlefleet set, which was sent to me by Warcradle Studios for review. These boxes of course always come shrink wrapped and come sleeved, so you can take that one off and then open up the box to see what's inside. Inside, of course, we will find the different flight stems that are used for different elements that skim or fly in this box. There are, of course, the SRS bases that come in there as well, and the C bases. These will be used for the RC-52 automata and the John Henry bot, so you actually get one medium base in reserve. On top of that, of course, there is the main part of this box, the actual battle cruiser itself. This is the main hull. These are cast using a one-piece mold, meaning that you actually don't have any mold lines to clean up, except for a bit of flashing perhaps at the very bottom of the ship itself. The different pieces to make the actual ships themselves come on these resin parts. These are two-part molds, so there is a small amount of mold lines that you have to clean up on them, and of course you'll have to snip them off of their holder, and that will require a bit of sanding to do as well. These are fairly large and flat areas, and in theory it should be able to be magnetized onto the ship, and we'll also be making a small guide on how to do that in this video. If you like this kind of hobby content, by the way, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for any of these future videos as well. The actual Independence battlecruiser itself is the one that has all of the different guns on there, and that is using the large part there. It also comes with two cranes to make a platform mover called the Freedom class, and there are a few bits of resin that you'll have to remove, some of the supports, and small parts in between those crane elements will need to be snipped off as well as flashing. Now I have gone ahead and removed the supports from the resin parts, and I'm using this one, and I have drilled out a couple of holes through this platform where all the guns go on. Why? These will act as the pilot holes to allow me to drill holes into the main hull to install the magnets that are needed to hold it into place. Any magnetization that you are going to do requires you to be consistent with the polarity, and I do recommend that you take one small generator, install a magnet into that one, and then use that one as a reference for all of the magnetizations that you do in any of your fleets really, because Dystopian Wars models come with a lot of interchangeable weapon systems and generators. Before you do any of your magnetization on the hull parts though, make sure that there is not a bit of warping that needs to be fixed first. This is an example of a small amount of warping that needs to be fixed by simply taking a hairdryer, heating it up and bending it into place, which is something that I have done off camera here. The most difficult part in magnetizations is, however, making sure that everything lines up, which is something that I'm going to show you how it is done here. I start off by installing a bunch of 5mm magnets everywhere. These are quite oversized for what they need to do, but they should be, because then you can line up things more easily. The top part was fairly easy to magnetize because that is the one that I used for the pilot holes. However, doing the large flat areas that don't really have any indication of where you should drill is tricky. What I suggest you do is install a few smaller magnets that you plan to install and just put a dollop of paint on top of them so that you can hold your piece into place first as you go along. In this case, make sure that the back lines up with the back, and then press down on it a bit so that the small amount of paint that you have leaves a bit of an indentation on the side of it. So double check that everything neatly lines up, and then carefully peel it back off, and then there you'll see that's the place where you'll need to drill the holes to install the smaller magnets onto those parts. Now all that is left to do is actually go and drill those holes, which is something that I've done off camera, and yeah, rinse and repeat for the second part, because the amount of paint that you have on those magnets should still be enough. Now that you have your both positions where you can do, you just make sure that the polarity of the magnets that you're installing is correct, and yeah, then job's a good one. You should be able to just easily interchange all of the different parts of your ships, because you can still see a bit of the paint smudges as well where I've wiped it away as I was doing my drilling. However, you need to be careful though, because some of these parts are really thin and I accidentally drilled through it when installing the magnet. It's not the end of the world because a bit of green stuff fixed that. It was also fairly easy to clean up, But yeah, that's one of the dangers of trying to magnetize large flat pieces onto a hull, I suppose. After you've done all of those different magnetizations, there's still quite a lot of other elements that you can put on there, but those require the plastics, and that requires us to have a closer look at those as well. This box comes with every different type of plastic sprue that is available to the Union, and a quick checkup before my camera battery died confirmed that these are indeed the latest versions, the updated versions, of some of the older sprues, such as the frontline sprues. Let's take a closer look though at the other ones that you can find in there. The first one is the support sprues, that obviously has the large carrier platform in there, along with 3 smaller rocket batteries as well. One very important piece I should mention is this one, the one that comes with an arc generator. You can make 2 named variants from the Pipeworks with this battlecruiser, but it didn't come with a resin arc generator in there, so that small little piece there can actually be cut out so you have your own separate arc generator to make those 2 named variants. My suggestion therefore would to not be building a Discovery cruiser out of this sprue, and instead try to salvage that arc generator so you can make all of the options for the thing that matters most, the battle cruiser itself. Next up we have the frontline sprue, and yeah, you can clearly see that this is the latest version, which is the one that comes with the Gatling guns. Now for those of you unfamiliar, you can make one Mass 2 cruiser out of that one, but the big change has been to the actual 2 frigates that come in there, because they now actually have the small holes to have all of the weapons interchangeable, and on top of that they now come with these small radar dishes to make the Boston radar frigate, if I'm not mistaken, which is something that relays information to your friendly ships and to take away the obscured bonus from the opponent. Other than that, this sprue is largely here to give you all of the different weapon options, including some of the rockets and gun batteries to make those named pipework variants of the main battlecruiser. Now the third sprue that you get are the Ore Wars veterans, and this particular piece is needed to make a specific version called the America class Special Operations Vessel, which is one that can launch these assault tokens. If you want to make that one, make sure that you don't use this sprue to build either the Sumter class, shown here, or the Saratoga class option for the cruisers, because then you won't have that piece available to you. Other than that though, you're free to build whatever you want with this sprue. It also comes with a few handy little escort tokens, which is always good if you've got a big battle cruiser along as well. And there's a few parts on there that are actually used for the Alliance. These are their heavy gun batteries and normal gun batteries. They come here because this sprue is also available to the Sousa faction of the Alliance, so you'll see a nice few parts on there as well. Do not use them on your own ships if you're using this as a Union fleet though, but it's always nice to have a bit of extra terrain embellishments and such. It also of course comes with the auto gyro token that is needed on that America class, and of course you can build this single auto gyro that goes on top of the platform that we mentioned at the beginning of this sprue. The one sprue that is completely new though in this set when it was introduced is this one, the Assault sprue, if I'm not mistaken. It comes with the 4-point Sentry platform, which is the one that you mount on top of the platform carrier, the Frontier ship as well. On top of that, it comes with the first submarine for the Union, the Cheyenne, which is actually quite a long vessel for a Mass 1. In addition, you get the other Mass 1, the Valiant destroyer, so the Union also has access now to destroyer type weapons, and yeah, this comes with a bunch of regular sized weaponry that you can mount onto them, including just 5 freely available Gatling guns, because you still have these special Gatling guns that will end up going onto your John Henry robot. And this sprue also comes with an extra little escort, bringing the total of this box to 3. In addition, there's the other type of escort, the Acorn Sentry, that can also be found on this sprue, so yeah, you really are spoiled for choice. As far as the John Henry bot goes itself, I'm still waiting on the build instructions to make it, because this seems like a hyper posable kit, so much so that I'm afraid to actually start with it without some building instructions in case I get something wrong. The good part though is that these 2 parts shown here are part of the hip of the robot, and it can be turned to have the flight stem either coming out of well, his front hip, shall we just say, or the back. So there's still quite a bit of extra modeling possibilities with the John Henry as well. If you want him in a more vertical position, you absolutely can model it that way, or a more horizontal one, that is also an option thanks to the flexibility of this hip joint. Besides that, we get a crap ton of weapons on there. There are loose hammers that can be attached to his hip. It seems there are hammers that are in clenched fists. There are fists without any weapons, pointing fingers. There is a double-handed hammer in there. So yeah, there's actually quite a lot of different ways you can make your John Henry robot to your liking. And there we have it. That's the review of this box set. I really like the content of it. It is brilliant. If you like to see more of these videos, make sure you give us a follow, and then I'll just let this footage roll and hope to see you in the next video. Bye!